Hey, Richard, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey, I appreciate your time this morning. Hey, do your friends call you Richard? Seems pretty formal. What do they call you?
Dick. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Richard is good. No, my friends all call me Ricardo, but we're not friends yet. We have to see how this goes.
Yeah, I like that because I still have maybe some reservations about you myself. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you making over there? Here's some ice. What you got? A little morning cocktail?
I'm making a little morning iced matcha.
You make that. You have a fancy. So you're rich and famous and talented and good looking and all the things. So do you have a famous?
Well, go on.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
talking.
Do you have a big fancy machine for that?
We have a big fancy coffee machine, but no, for the matcha, you just put the little powder in the bottom of a cup, and we've got this $9 Amazon little like frother.
I don't know what that is. I don't
Like
know what a frother
electric
is.
whisk thingy. Like
It's a whisk
shakes it up.
thingy, but it's battery operated, so it's pretty. It looks really expensive. It's like $9.
Listen, Ricardo, I don't know what that is, buddy.
Do you even know what matcha is?
Is it green?
Are you in high school?
I wish. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know what.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah.
see, if you started drinking coffee, we could be friends.
Well, here's the thing. My grandma died from coffee overdose, and so now I'm sad.
Wow, that was unnecessary.
Okay, I'm kidding. She didn't. Hey, listen, I'm a big fan. Really, this is super cool for me to talk to you, so I really appreciate the time. Like, I'll just say it up front that I'm kind of geeking out a little bit at not only you as an artist, but also you as a songwriter. So up front, in a very sincere way, like, massive fan. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me.
That's so nice, man. Thank you, and congratulations. You guys are kicking butt.
Thanks. So here's a couple questions we have for you. First of all, you had on Instagram, you had shared Abby, our phone screener. She answers phone. She produces some segments, but she was singing, and you pushed and shared, and so we took that as an endorsement that you think she's a pretty good singer. Now, do you share people that are only good singing your songs, or just anybody singing your songs?
Here's the loaded question. We're going to get right to it. Generally, to be honest with you, I very rarely share anything that I think would hurt somebody's ears. So, much as I'll like it, and I'll even sometimes go, "Hey, thanks, great job," but I'm not going to repost it if it's not very good. So, yeah, she sounded good, and all kidding aside, to me, that's the ultimate compliment as a songwriter, is when anyone wants to take the time to learn your song, and especially now post it on their socials. That means that song means something to them in some way, even if it's just something that they think, "Oh, I think I sound good singing this song." That's the ultimate songwriter compliment,
So, Abby, he is saying he enjoyed it. What do you want to say to him?
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, Abby, you sounded good. I mean, I wouldn't have reposted it if you sucked.
What would
that's
you
good.
say
That's
to
good to know.
Abby, who she moved to Nashville to pursue a career in singing, and then she couldn't remember some words, and she ran out of an audition once, then she gave up, but now she's kind of back trying again. Like, regardless of her talent, what would you say to someone going through this? What are your inspiring words to her, Richard?
Well, I mean, you can't. If you really want to have a career, it can't be despite not having talent. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of like a given. You kind of have to have that, and she does. But I would say, on one hand, it's never been easier to get attention and to get music out there because of social media and streaming. And, you don't need a record deal. You don't need a publisher anymore. You just need to, fill up your content. You need to feed the beast. So I think if you're not a songwriter, then you got to find songs that you think you sound great doing, but also you don't want to do songs when I hear people trying to cover Whitney Houston songs, I'm always like, "Do you think you sing this better than Whitney did?" Maybe find another song that suits you even better, that nobody's comparing you to the original necessarily. That's why I think a girl singing a guy song or a guy singing a girl song sometimes is a clever move.
Abby, are you inspired?
I am.
All right, let's go. Abby's inspired. Okay,
Let's go.
Richard Marx just Abby.
And you know what's funny? We're talking to a songwriter. So if you got any songs you need female to sing, here we go.
Oh no, she just went for it. She just went for it.
I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm kidding.
Anyway.
She's not.
Oh boy. Hey, Richard, in your career, was there ever a time, Richard, that let's go back to the 80s when you were, as an artist, you were on TV all the time, and you were just crushing. Was there ever a moment before that happened where you had to go and just like, hey, can I have this? Can I, like what just Abby did to you awkwardly? Did you ever have to do that awkwardly to people?
Oh yeah, 100%. So my songwriting career really started that way. In that I had written a handful of songs that when I was a senior in high school that somehow magically made their way. The tape made its way to Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie heard my cassette tape and called me. My phone number was written on the back. He called me in my parents' house and was so encouraging of me. And he said, "Man, I really like your voice, and you should move to L.A. when you graduate from high school," which is what I did. And then he hired me as a background singer on his first solo album when he left the Commodores. And around a year later, he recommended me as a background singer to Kenny Rogers, who was huge still at that time in the 80s. And so there I am, singing background vocals on this Kenny Rogers album, and he's there at the studio. And I went up to him and said, "I'm a songwriter. I'd love to play you a song I wrote for you." And he should have thrown me out of the studio. He should have had security, throw me on the street. But he was cool, and he said, "Let me hear it." And we sat down at the piano, and he cut my song, and then he cut two more of my songs, and that launched my songwriting career.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's good. So I was lucky enough to befriend Lionel. I did 4 seasons of American Idol, and so Lionel was awesome. Now I don't know if it's because Lionel was 70 and he's just amazing once he got older with perspective, but he's the kindest guy. Was he like that even when he was young and killing it then?
Yes, I have never known, other than our sweet Olivia Newton-John, who passed yesterday. Other than her, I've never known anybody who was a superstar who acted less like a superstar than Lionel. He's just the most gracious, kind. He can, he's still got a wicked sense of humor, and he can be sarcastic, and he can hang with the best of them. But inside his soul is just kindness, and he loves to help people, and he's just the best. Like, I just love the guy. He changed my life.
Richard Marx is on with us, and I find it really interesting what you're doing inside of songwriter. And so songwriter, and the whole album comes out. Is 9 September? Let me do my fingers. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August.
9/30.
Yes.
September 30th.
Because I know it's not out yet. So September 30th, you're putting the full album out, but it's split into parts. There's pop, rock, country, and ballads. And the country part's interesting because we're big buds with Keith Urban, and you guys have written together before. But there's a song, One Day Longer, that you and Keith Urban. So you're singing it, but he wrote it with you?
Yeah, so here's my history with Keith. We've had 3 really big hits together that he had, and Better Life, Long Hot Summer, and Everybody. And Better Life, he almost didn't cut because he kind of got over it. From the time we started it to the time we finished it, he was kind of like off of it, not into it. But he kind of just went in the studio and cut it, #1 for 6 weeks. We wrote Everybody, and he was all in love with it the day we wrote it. And then a few days later, he was like, "I don't like it anymore." So I went in the studio. I was due to record something with Dan Huff, his producer, who's brilliant. And so Dan and I went in the studio to cut a song. And he said, "We've got time. We can cut another song." So I played him the work tape of my song with Keith, Everybody. And he went, "Oh, my God, man, this is great. We should cut this." We cut it, and right before we mixed it, he played it for Keith, and Keith called me and goes, "Okay, I blew it. Can I have that song back?" So my history with Keith is we write something, he's in love with it the day we write it, and then a week later, it's the worst thing he's ever heard. And that's what happened with One Day Longer. But it's just been taking up space, as an MP3 in my computer. So when I was making this album, I went back and listened to it. I was like, I love this song. So I cut it.
In the country section here, Richard's written songs by himself, with Urban, with Darius, with Hauser. And I think, and I mentioned it before we got on the phone with you, how just prominent and prolific of a songwriter you are, and all the songs you've written for a whole lot of people. But is there a difference in writing with some of these country guys that we know and are friends with, and some of the guys in L.A.?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't really write with anyone who's not a real songwriter. In that, I very rarely collaborate with someone who's just a track person, or it's usually two guys sitting down or three guys. It's very rare that there are three writers on my songs, but I kind of gravitate towards what I would call old school songwriters, where you just sort of hammer it out. You get a concept, I usually come in with a bunch of melody ideas or a title, and we're just off to the races. There's not that much difference, actually. Writing with Randy Houser is not that different than writing with, my son Lucas, who's a great pop songwriter, or any of these other guys. It's all sort of like going after the song, not trying to worry so much about what the record's going to be, but just making the song the best it can be.
You say you'll go in with the melody, so you'll just walk in, and I was going to ask if you're a melody or a lyric guy first, and probably you do a little bit of both, but will you walk in with no concept at all, but you're like, I got this melody, it goes, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and you walk in with just that melody, and then you start trying to assign words and a concept to the sound?
Yeah, that's how I've always written songs, even the songs I've written by myself, which make up most of my catalog, are songs I wrote alone. It starts with some gibberish line, and like I had this big hit called Hazard. It's the story song. And all I had was, my mother came to Bonner when I was just 7. And then I started to I wrote all the music, all the melody, and I started to put the story together, and I had everything except the name of the town that this thing was set in. And I even knew it was in Nebraska because I referenced Nebraska. So I just had to go through every name of every town in Nebraska until I found one that's the 2-syllable word that fit, that sounded good. It's kind of how it all starts with me, is with a melody. The melodies and the music kind of tell me what the lyrics should be.
Whenever you have songs that are so massive, for example, Right Here Waiting, from like 89, do you go through different cycles or seasons where, it's a massive hit, you love to play it, then you play it so much you don't want to play it, but then you're kind of re-energized to play it again because you've hated it for so long? But is that a seasonal thing with you in your life, or do you just always love it, or how does that work?
No, I don't have that experience. I think that probably happens more with people who record songs by other people. If you wrote a song that you love, if I record a song and release a song, it means that I love that song. And there's some songs that I might get a little bit more psyched to play sometimes, but there's never a song in my set where I look down at the set list and go, oh, God, not that again. I've never had that.
I do that every day with certain segments in my radio show. Every day. I'm just like, oh, my God, I got to do that again.
Sure.
Yeah. Richard, this has been awesome. I want to let everybody know Songwriter comes out on September 30th. Again, there are all these sections, and I love how you did it. And ballads, though, by the way, when I was looking at this, ballads, you didn't format that. You just went, okay, these are slow songs. Slow songs don't have a format or a genre?
Not to me. Just those songs to me were just these 5 really beautiful songs that could have fit any genre, really, but they kind of made up their own genre to me. And the first track is, by the way, I'm doing this we're going to do a vinyl version of this, so it's literally going to be side A, side B, side C, side D, The lead track on the ballads section, I wrote with Burt Bacharach. It's a song called Always. Getting to sit in a room and write a song with Burt Bacharach, and this is when he was 91. He's 94 now. I can't even believe it, we became pals, and this guy wrote the soundtrack to all of our lives, I'm just so humbled that I got to sit in a room with him and write I'm so proud of this song.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because Burt Bacharach, for me, raindrops keep falling on. That's not Burt Bacharach.
No, that's
He's
B.J.
played it
Thomas.
though.
Yeah.
He's played it though,
Oh, okay,
Eddie.
okay.
I've heard Burt Bacharach play that song. That's what I
Okay.
think
He
about.
did. He wrote it.
And he wrote it, Eddie.
there you go.
So then I thought I was right. Then I thought I was wrong, and I was embarrassed. And then I had to come back to it. And Ricardo Marx just told me I was right because now we're friends. There you have it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. If you ever come to Nashville, we'd love to have you. Hop in the studio here. We'll do a whole deal. I'm just a big fan.
I would love that.
And your album comes out on the 30th. We'll be sure to talk about it when it comes out. And you guys go to richardmarx.com. He's in Europe now, but he will come to the States, and he's doing a bunch of shows in the States starting in October. And he's in a lot of the cities that our show's in. And just a very entertaining, very funny guy, but also super talented and super cool. And says Abby has a long career in music, and he will put her on tour with him. That's what I heard.
Oh,
Wow.
That's what I heard.
Wow. That is
Bobby, you can officially call me Ricardo.
Okay, I now officially
Yeah.
can. Okay, there he is. Ricardo, thank you for your time. Massive fan. Good luck with the record, and congrats on the book. And hopefully, I will see you in person sometime.
Thank you, pal. Thanks, you guys.
All right, there he is. Richard Marx,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Hey, Abby, sing us out with a little Richard Marx.
Oh,
Here we
no,
go.
you sing,
Abby,
Richard.
sing us out. Abby, let's go. Sing us out.
Wherever you are, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you.
There it is. We'll be back in a second. There it is.
My voice.